Well, congratulations to Randy Fine. He is the next congressman, Republican congressman from Florida. Overwhelmed his Democrat opponent by what, 11 points there? Democrats poured millions, tens of millions of dollars into that election. This is Mike Waltz's former district, now the National Security Advisor. A clean, clear-cut win for the Republican. That was a reasonably somewhat tight district. Is this a, what do they call it, a bellwether or a sign of things to come, or a referendum? Who knows? We go next to Wisconsin. It's definitely a good sign, though, don't you think? All right, Wisconsin. Have you heard about this? Big battle for chief judge. Drop the banner if you don't mind. Judge Susan Crawford versus Judge Brad Shamel. Brad is the good guy. Susan is the wacko nutjob leftist lunatic who wants to redistribute, redefine, gerrymander Wisconsin so that they'll never elect a Republican again. So if Shamel wins, we have this. We've got Trump and we've got Speaker Johnson and we have sanity, okay? That's what we want. If the crazy lady wins, well, we have Hakeem Jefferies as Speaker of the House potentially, then AOC as his top deputy. This would be very, very bad. Of course, Hakeem Jefferies is pretty much out of his mind.
That occurred above DCA Airport. Lives have been lost. Families have been devastated. People are suffering. And the leader of this country decides to go out and peddle lies, conspiracy theories, and attack people of color and women.
Women? It's just like muscle memory, right? Donald Trump is attacking people of color and women. And by the way, Speaker, what the hell, or what is he? Majority something, minority leader. What are you doing standing in the weeds by the side of the road? Isn't that kind of strange? All right, so this Wisconsin race is a big one. I kind of wish well, how much did you know about this? I know that some people did. Elon Musk was there basically telling everybody that, yeah, everything hangs in the balance on this one.
And whichever party controls the House, it to a significant degree controls the country, which then steers the course of Western civilization. So it's like, I feel like this is one of those things that may not seem that it's going to affect the entire destiny of humanity, but I think it will.
Wow. The entire destiny of humanity determined by an election that just wrapped up in Wisconsin. Will have results, well, we don't know exactly. I did not hear enough about this. Did you? I know Scott Pressler. I found out he's been all over this, right? Because if it should slip to the Democrat crazy person, well, there goes Western society. I feel like we need to have a special alert system, like when it's really, really important, like a MAGA red alert, right? Stop everything and pay attention. Maybe we could call it a MAGA J13 alert. That's when President Trump, of course, was almost assassinated. Do we want to call it that? Or a MAGA for Ashley alert? A MAGA J16 alert? Something, all right? That it's like, this is really important and you got to pay attention. Maybe we should just stick to the red alert because, you know, there's so much happening right now and everybody's talking. The left is talking. President Trump is dominating the conversation. He says a lot, but when is it really, really, really important? Apparently, Wisconsin is really, really, really important. And with everybody yelling all day long, sometimes it's hard to kind of cut through the noise and figure out, all right, what's important and what's not. What's just background noise and what do we really have to pay attention to? A MAGA red alert, a MAGA J13 alert, a MAGA J16 alert, something along those lines. I think because a lot of this did slip our scan, and that's, I guess, on us, but there's so much going on right now. All right, please take a look at this. Have you ever seen it? It's a museum inside the Department of Environmental Protection. You have not seen it. Number one, it's totally lame. It doesn't have any artifacts. It just has like signs, right? We did this and we did that. Lee Zeldin is the new EPA director under President Trump. He found out about this thing. It's a total ripoff for the taxpayer, and he's shutting it down.
If you were to visit the museum located here at EPA headquarters in D.C., you would learn a lot about the road to environmental justice and climate change. This museum claims EPA pursues its mission by advancing environmental justice, equity, and civil rights compliance.
Wow, what a boring museum. How could anybody go to that museum when a couple of blocks away you've got the Smithsonian Sea, Air, and Space Museum with planes and spaceships all over the place. You can even touch a moon rock. But 1,000 people apparently over the past 2 years went to this place. How much does it cost? It was opened by Biden in 2024. The damn thing cost $4 million to build, $600,000 a year to maintain, and hardly anybody goes to the damn thing. Take a look at this.
Even though it is free admission, this museum costs you, the taxpayer, $315 per external visitor. I have pledged to be an exceptional steward of taxpayer dollars. So this shrine to EJ and climate change will now be shut down for good.
All right, that's excellent. By the way, what's EJ? I'm like, is that a cartoon character? What is EJ? It's environmental justice. That's what they call it there, EJ, environmental justice. That's not the only woke museum that they got a clip right now. The National Archives. That's the place where you go to see the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, all that stuff, and that's good. But they also do a lot of other things, and most of them are woke, weird, and lame.
Hi, welcome to the Lawrence F. O'Brien Gallery at the National Archives Museum in Washington, D.C. I'm Alice Camps, curator of All-American, The Power of Sports. Let's go on a tour.
You can tell already it's going to stink. Doge alert, Elon Musk, you are desperately needed at the National Archives. Again, the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum is right across the mall, and they think this is interesting. It's all about sports and racism. It's a lame song right there. You know it's gonna be bad. And here it is. Now we go into the actual exhibit. America, yeah, we play sports. A couple of cool things happened, but it was mostly a shameful, sad history.
For some of the 110,000 American citizens and residents of Japanese descent who were incarcerated during World War II, baseball was a way to proclaim their American identity. Here we have photos, newsletter articles, and a drawing of a baseball game by artist Mine Okubo.
And they couldn't have something for Babe Ruth or the 1980 hockey team that beat the Soviets, right? No. And once you're done looking at the Japanese internment camp exhibit, this is how America screwed over the Native Americans.
Hundreds of thousands of Native children were forced or coerced to attend boarding schools, many funded by the federal government. The goal of the school's programs has been described as kill the Indian to save the man. Many students resisted through sports. Playing basketball, football, and baseball allowed them to express pride in their tribal identities and demonstrate their power.
The weakest tie-in, right? You see how they're struggling, right? How do we make sports and oppression go together in the same exhibit? All right, before you leave the museum, they're very impressed that they found a football team with black football players.
We recently discovered this photograph in our holdings. At first, we were mystified by it because it shows a black football team at West Point in 1926. And West Point football wasn't integrated until 1966. As we later learned, black cavalry units, known as Buffalo Soldiers, were brought to West Point to teach horsemanship to the cadets. Apparently, they also formed a football team, playing intramural and other college and semi-professional teams.
Isn't that nice? She marvels at the black football players. Isn't that nice? Well, Elon Musk, are you going to fix this situation? Okay. These are the same people who set up President Trump in that phony classified documents prosecution, right? All the documents that were on the ground there in Mar-a-Lago, they were behind the whole damn thing. You see, on January 20th of 2021, President Trump left the White House. And see, totally peaceful, totally fine. Now, because he's moving, what happens when you move? Well, clothes, possessions, boxes of stuff. Did you see anything just like eye-catching here? I thought it was pretty standard. But the National Archives called the cops when they saw this. No kidding. The head of the archives. I can remember watching the Trumps leaving the White House and saying to myself, what the hell's in that box? Mind your business. That began a whole process of trying to determine whether any records had not been turned over to the archives. And they called the cops and started that whole phony thing, the archives. I know it's small, but it's also very, very intrusive and very woke and very, very anti-democratic, as in anti the people who participate in elections. Elon Musk, your prestige and knowledge desperately needed at that institution. I bet you could straighten it out in an afternoon. Next, please.
So it's a fairly unprecedented step here to nominate him to be the top U.S. military officer, not only a three-star, but also someone who, as of a few months ago, was retired.
Lieutenant General Dan Caine, who is retired, being asked to come out of retirement.
Retired three-star general Dan Caine. And I don't know this, it may have happened before, but to have a retired general come in.
Oh my, retired? Retired? It may have happened before, but no producer has presented me any information on a card or written it for me, so don't you guys know anything? Aren't you curious? Of course it's happened before. They're talking about the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, but routinely they come out of retirement for these big jobs in the military. Shoemaker is his name. President George W. Bush found him after he retired, brought him back to active duty to run the Army. It happened to MacArthur like 5 times throughout his career when he was retired and brought back to active duty. Why they're talking about this right now is because of President Trump's choice to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. A true officer and a gentleman. His name is Dan Caine, call sign Razin, and he did a great job today. Take a look.
During the consideration of your nomination, were you ever asked who you voted for in the last election or 2020 election?
Senator, I was not.
Are you aware of any presently serving service members or senior civilians in DOD being asked questions like this?
I'm not, Senator.
Do you agree that it's the utmost importance to keep the military apolitical and questions like this should not be asked?
I agree with you. Yes, Senator.
Well, there was a story going around that he put on a MAGA hat while he was on active duty. They try to catch him in that, but they understand that this guy is a straight shooter and a by-the-book kind of guy, but also a very creative thinker when it comes time to getting and killing the enemy. This was pretty good, but there's one little thing I'm just a teensy-weensy bit worried about. Take a look.
And what steps you'll take to guard against the potential politicization?
Senator, I think the question was, what steps will I take to guard against politicalization? I think it starts with being a good example from the top and making sure that we are nonpartisan and apolitical and speaking the truth to power every day.
Okay, now sometimes the truth to power thing, I think sometimes it's become a rallying cry, right, for journalists, for the establishment. It's a code for defying political leadership. It doesn't necessarily mean that, but it can mean that. And I'm sure he just means providing straight advice to the best of his ability, whether or not they want to hear it, right? Sometimes people tell the boss what the boss wants to hear. There's a whole art in finding out what the boss wants and then giving the boss what he wants. But what he really wants is your opinion most of the time, sometimes.